They laughed when I, a millionaire with only 3 months to live, adopted 5 boys from the streets. Laughed like it was some kind of joke. Like my dying wish was funny. Maybe to some people it was. But to me it was the most serious, most heartfelt decision I had ever made. I'm Madison Blake, 43 years old, founder of one of the most successful skincare empires in the country, and recently diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I used to believe life was about power, reputation, and staying in control. I built my company from scratch after my ex-husband left me for a younger woman and tried to bankrupt me during the divorce. That betrayal lit a fire in me. I worked 15-hour days, gave up on dating, gave up on softness, and poured myself into becoming untouchable. But life, as it always does, had the final word. When the doctor told me I had 3 months to live, I didn't cry. I just stared at him, numb, my mind racing through the years of endless board meetings, brand campaigns, facials, deals, and sleepless nights. What had I really done with my life? Who would even miss me? The next day, I drove through downtown Los Angeles on impulse, past the polished storefronts and manicured sidewalks. My driver was confused when I asked him to take a detour toward a rundown neighborhood near Skid Row. I'd never been there. Never even looked twice. But that day I asked him to stop the car. I got out and walked. That's where I saw them. 5 boys huddled together near a closed deli. They couldn't have been older than 16. Dirty faces, ragged clothes, wide, distrustful eyes. They were passing a half-eaten sandwich around like it was gold. I watched for a while before I walked over. One of them, the tallest, stepped in front of the others like a guard dog. "What do you want, lady?" he asked. "My name is Madison. I just want to talk." They laughed. Not a mocking laugh. More like the kind people use when they think you're crazy. Maybe I was. I sat down on the curb near them. They looked at me like I had horns. "You lost or something?" another one asked. He had freckles and a hoodie that looked 3 sizes too big. "I'm dying," I said simply. Silence. Then the tall one spoke again, his voice softer. "So, what, you want to give away your money or something?" I smiled. "No. I want to give away my heart." That's how it started. Their names were Jordan, Micah, Leo, Tanner, and Cody. All between the ages of 10 and 16. All without homes, families, or much trust in the world. I offered them something they hadn't expected. A home. Not a shelter. Not a temporary foster program. A real home. With me. When I called my lawyer and told him I wanted to adopt 5 boys off the street, he thought I was joking. My assistant cried, saying I was ruining my final days. My board members tried to call an emergency meeting to declare me mentally unstable. They laughed at me. Literally. In my face. "She's dying and losing it," I heard one whisper behind my back. But I didn't care. I had made up my mind. It took weeks of legal work, therapy sessions, social worker approvals, and background checks. I paid for private investigators to find out what I needed. Medical records, prior foster care history, and emergency contacts. There were none. These boys had fallen through every crack. They had no one. Just each other. The first few nights in my mansion, they didn't sleep in their own rooms. They piled into the guest room together, too scared to sleep alone. I had a chef prepare them everything from pancakes to lasagna, but they still stashed bread under their pillows, afraid it would disappear. They didn't believe me at first. Thought I was some kind of twisted social experiment. They kept waiting for me to give up. But I didn't. I took a leave of absence from my company. I hired a full-time therapist, a tutor, and even enrolled them in a private school with flexible programs. I sat with them during homework. I helped them clean their rooms. I told them stories before bed and tucked them in. I was a mom. They resisted at first. Micah, the youngest, cried every night for 2 weeks. Leo tried to run away 3 times. Tanner refused to speak to me for a month. But I was patient. I didn't push. I let them come to me in their own time. One day I was sitting on the porch when Jordan came out and sat next to me. He didn't say anything. Just sat there. Then after a long pause he said, "Nobody's ever looked at me like I was worth something." My throat tightened. "You are worth everything." He didn't respond. But he reached over and took my hand. After that things changed. Fully. They started calling me Maddie. They told me about their dreams. Cody wanted to be an artist. Tanner loved animals. Micah wanted to be a firefighter. Jordan had a secret love for poetry. And Leo, quiet and serious Leo, wanted to be a lawyer, to protect kids like them. I started writing letters to each of them, letters they would get after I was gone. I poured my heart into them, every single one. I wanted them to know that no matter how short our time was, they were loved deeply. My health declined faster than I thought. By month 2 I needed a wheelchair. By month 3 I was mostly in bed. But my boys, my beautiful, wild, stubborn boys, became my world. They brought me flowers from the garden. Read to me. Sat beside me for hours. Cody drew portraits of me smiling. Tanner made me tea and tucked the blankets around my legs. I wasn't afraid to die anymore. I had finally lived. In the final week I gathered them all in the garden. I was weak but I held their hands. I'm not leaving you, I whispered. I'm just going somewhere you can't see me. But I'll always be with you. In every choice you make. In every moment you doubt your worth, remember me. Remember that someone believed in you. They were crying. All of them. I died 3 days later. Peacefully. In my sleep. Surrounded by my boys. At my funeral they stood together in matching suits. Jordan read a poem. Cody held Micah's hand. Leo gave the eulogy. And the media, the same people who once mocked me, covered it like a miracle. Dying millionaire leaves fortune and love to 5 homeless boys. But it wasn't about money. It never was. Years later those boys became men. Cody opened an art school for underprivileged kids. Tanner started a veterinary clinic. Micah became a firefighter. Jordan published a book of poetry, dedicated to the woman who saved my life. And Leo? He passed the bar and started a non-profit legal aid group for foster youth. They visit my grave every year on the same day. They sit on the grass, laugh, argue, cry and talk to me like I'm still here. As, in a way, I am. In them. They laughed when I adopted 5 boys from the streets. They said it was a waste. That I was dying. But I wasn't dying, I was finally living. And through them I still am.